Aloha. This Traditions of the Pacific lecture is titled Kukulu Hale Kahiko, presented by Kumu Francis Palani Sinenci. This was recorded on Thursday, February 20th, 2014.
We have a professor, we have all kinds of people out there, and we have a videographer who builds hollies too, Carol. It takes a village to build a holly. It takes more than a village to build a holly. When you pass, there's a pile of wood out there, and you were wondering, oh, there's a pile of wood. It actually took about 7 days and an average of 15 to 20 people to get that wood to this stage right here. We had to go harvest the wood, pull it out, beat the bark out of it, and bring it and deliver it, and we still have more to come. And the thatching. And just to build the base of the post right there took a whole day. So it takes a village plus to build a holly. It actually takes laulima. Now, if you see a lot of people walking around with laulima, all different types of dates and backs, because they all participated in multiple laulimas throughout the state of Hawaii. And I think one of them, he's not here tonight, but he actually went to China with me to the island of Hainan, and we built a tree holly there in Hainan. A friend of mine's, Jackie Hipa over here, showed up by surprise, and she goes, hi, my name's Jackie Hipa. I says, are you married? Were you married? What's your husband's name? She goes, Sam Hipa. So like 30-something years ago, we were stationed together in Philippines. About 30 years ago, right? So thanks for coming. Yeah. It was a long time. I don't know if she mentioned I'm from Hana, Maui. Did you mention that? Born and raised, went to Hana High School. And left home a long time ago to pursue a career in the military. And I joined the Navy. Actually, I was in the Navy for 4 years, 3 months, 29 days, 11 hours, 4 minutes, and 29 seconds. That's when we passed the gate going out of Pearl Harbor. And I asked my buddy, he goes, what time is it? He goes, I goes, you know, we've been in the Navy? And he goes, how do you know? I goes, we swore in at 4 o'clock this morning, so it's that time. So I went through my whole Air Force career telling people, how long were you in the Navy? 4 years, 3 months, 29 days, 11 hours, 4 minutes, and 29 seconds. So that's my claim to fame. After I retired from the Air Force, I returned back to Hawaii. And the first thing, my brother-in-law came up to me, he goes, hey, we need a kupuna to teach at school in Waimea. I goes, what's a kupuna? He goes, you know, grandpa or grandma, somebody who teaches Hawaiian. I goes, I don't know how to do that. He goes, you from Hana, right? I goes, yeah, I'm from Hana. So he goes, well, you should be able to speak Hawaiian. I goes, a little bit. So I went to interview at this at school, and the lady says, you're from Hana, that's good enough for us. and that's why I'm here today. The Hawaiian thatch holly. Actually, I have to credit all what I know to Russ Apple. If you know who Russ Apple was, he was a Pacific historian. And when my teacher, my co-teacher in the Hawaiian Studies program, asked me to go build a holly, and I goes, what's a holly? You know, you got to remember, I was in the Air Force for almost 30 years, 29.7 years. And I goes, what's a holly? I already spoke several dialects of English, including South Carolinian. And he goes, a holly? She goes, a holly. I goes, so you mean a grass shack? She goes, yeah, grass shack. I goes, we never call it a holly, we always call it a grass shack. We knew that Haliawa was a bathhouse and Hale Kuhikuhi was all that, but I didn't know what a holly was. So I have to credit rust apple, and the BishopMuseum. And that's the only reason that I'm here doing this, is because I owe you guys. It took a lot of work. It took 7 days to get the stuff here. 7 separate days, and about, like I said, about 15 to 20 people to amass the resources that we're going to show you guys. And it's not like you can walk down to Home Depot and just go down there. If we could go down to Home Depot and buy stuff like this, rough looking, we could build the hollies for like about maybe $3,000 or less if they would provide all the cordage, special cordage from China, all the leaves and everything, rocks. We could build hollies just like that. We just deliver it on site, and we could probably put it up in 3 days, cut everything up and build it. But you cannot do that. So when people ask us, I want to build a holly, how much is a holly? And we go, well, you want to do it Laulima style? It means you provide all the materials, and that's all the materials and the labor, and we'll come do it for you. Nominal fee. So, that's a lot of work. How much for turnkey? So I go, how big a holly? Then I say, okay, $100,000. And they flip out. And I understand that BishopMuseum paid astronomical sum for the one in the holly. I wasn't I was asked about it, but anyway, it takes a lot of money, a lot of resources, because it's custom made. You have to go out and harvest all your materials. You cannot go and just go to the local hardware store and buy it. Okay. Hawaiian holly. Back in the old days, the holly was mainly thatched with peely grass. They had fences around it, which was kapu. And the fences were only was put up only to show a line. The fence did not keep anything out, but it's a line of respect. So if you saw a fence, you did not maha'oi and go in there. So that's what fences were for, mainly. And I think some of these fences actually have barbed wire on it. But the fences were mainly for kapu and demarcation. Next slide. Rocks. The basis of a Hawaiian holly is always on a pai rocks. You got to have rocks. Hawaiian hollies need to stay above ground, above the water level, so it doesn't rot. Nowadays, you don't have to worry about that because you got termites anyway, right? So I want to know who the first Hawaiian that told this guy, "Hey, go come eat my house," and then the termites were listening. So you never say, "Go come eat my house." Come over for dinner, right? This slide over here is an olokea, or a scaffolding ladder system that we built for the restoration of the Pu'ukohola Heiau. Without this type of ladder system, we could not have done it without a $1.5 million crane, which was what they were going to use. So I got a call from, just getting away a little bit from Holly build, but this leads into Holly because we built a Holly on this. I was called to go over there, and I didn't want to go Maui over there because that's another island, and some of the men that are associated with the Heiau said, "You got to come and see this. They're going to use machine." I go, "Why are they going to use machine when we restored Pilani Heiau without using machinery?" So the engineer came to Hana. He goes, "How'd you guys put all these rocks back up?" He goes, "Like our ancestors, one rock at a time." And this is the ladder system that we built to effect that. In fact, this job right here, we saved the government $3 million. $3 million by doing it like this. If they used the other, the crane system, they would have taken the rocks away, put them in a field over here on the side, categorized the rocks, front rocks, back rocks, filler rocks. And I goes, my stone builders can just identify the rocks if we just pile them up here, pile them up there. So we did it anyway. I had to convince those engineers that this ladder system was strong enough to hold, and I quote them, 6 Samoans weighing 300 pounds and holding 100-pound rocks in their hand. So we had to come over here to BishopMuseum, and I shipped the wood from Maui, and we built an Hale Care system right against you guys' wall right here, and we took it up to the construction laboratory at the University of Hawaii, and they tested it, and they said if you cannot hold 300 pounds each lashing, that they're going to scrap the project. Needless to say, we exceeded all expectations and specifications, so they allowed us to do this. So me being the only certified lasher in Hawaii, I had to teach classes and certify people to do this because it was a safety issue. Next slide. Planting of bones versus fish. In the old days, to hold mana the hale, if you built a hale, especially for an ali'i, he usually put the bones of a favorite cousin underneath his po manu, his center post. That was to give him spiritual power. I think after the missionaries got here, they goes, hey, we don't want you guys to kill you people anymore. Let's use fish. So they started using fish. I'm just surmising that I said that. But that was a good thing, though, because we didn't, after the kapu system went away, then we started using fish and different symbolic things instead of killing our own people. So, when a hale is built, can you set this up? There's an orientation that you have to follow. There's a protocol of, like the island is a round thing with the ahupuas and pie shape. So, makai is always makai. Mauka is always makau, akau. So, all hales were usually oriented with the shoreline. I'm just building I don't have to attach the whole thing. I'm just not putting all attachment. So, the hale is usually like that. However, some of the hales, like canoe hales, were pointed to the ocean, right? Because you put your canoe in, straight out. So that's the halauva. Some of the protocols for gathering la'au for hales was you have to take sacrifices up there. We don't practice that anymore. We just kind of, we do say our hey moves and our ehomais, something simpler, and we go into the forest and respect the forest by cutting only what we need. And the invasives. There's so much invasive in the forest. Sometimes we go in, we cut more invasives than we do the la'au that we need. So with respect to our limited resources, we always take what we need, just like fishing. However, if you guys go to the Big Island, they're cutting ohia wood and burning them and just plowing under. Every time I go there, my heart beats. So we try to get as much ohia wood from them as possible, but it's like expensive because you got to fly there, and some of them want to sell you the wood rather than give them to you. So I already covered the kapus. Next slide, please. Kane versus wahine. There was a hale mua that was built for the men. The hale noa was a free sleeping house for both sexes and grandma and whoever visited. And I believe that was the same house used for procreation. And there was a hale pe'a for the women that were considered unclean. This hale right here, This is an example of an ancient hale noa. I believe this is the one from Hana. Was this a Hana one? And this one is thatched with lauhala, or hala. Yeah. And this is a modern hale that we just finished a couple years ago. And it's 50 by 25. And it sits at the National Tropical Botanical Garden at the Pi'ilani Heiau, National Tropical Botanical Garden at Pi'ilani. This wall right here, we don't know if it was a Po'unuhunua wall. Did you have any information on this wall? And the recent earthquake that damaged Pu'ukohala and Mailekini heiaus, the only thing that damaged at our heiau that we had previously restored was one rock fell off this wall. One rock fell off the wall. That was amazing. Okay, this is a hale papa'a. Papa'a, as soon as you hear the word papa'a, you're thinking about burnt rice, right? But pa'a means a secure, a place that's pa'a, or secure. So usually a hale papa'a like this had raised floors in there to keep animals and kids from taking whatever implements the farmer had stored in his hale papa'a. This hale right here was one of the hales that was built last year during our what was that? Our hale symposium in Hana, where we took 5 teams from 5 different islands, all mixed, and some of the people are here, and we gave them 2.5 days to build a hale. So it looks real simple, right? But although we had the resources, it takes a little bit of engineering to do that, because you cannot use any modern implements except for a chainsaw to cut. So you got to know how to build a scaffolding system in it, and the scaffolding system in itself is ergonomic. You have to build it ergonomic to fit the people that work on the hale and to conform to the shape and size of the hale. So hale papa. I think this is a hale pe'a, right? So hale pe'a was built for the women. So the women get 1 month off, I guess, or a few days off a month. This was my signature hale. This is the first hale noa that I built at the Hana Cultural Center. And it took 496,000 tea leaves to thatch that. 496,000. How did I know? It took 16 per bundle. So I multiplied the bundles and divided by 16. That's how I know. Okay. And this one here, it's destroyed already from age and deterioration. And we replaced it with the one that was thatched with lolu palms. Nowadays, lolu palms easier to use and to get rather than peely grass. If any of you have worked with peely grass, especially the one in the museum, right? See how long it took? And the one on Kaho'olawe took about like 5 years to get it thatched because they didn't have enough peely grass. I was involved with that, and some of the museum guys, I think. You was Kaho'olawe, yeah. It depends. It depends what area you're in. Here, this will probably last about maybe 10, 15 years. Depends on the rain. Weather, maybe this lasts about 6, 7 years. But it also depends on how thick and how steep your angle of the hale is, because the water just run off. And its use. I built a village in Hana, and in 5 years, from no use, it just deteriorated because the jungle just took it over, and it was a shame because we had the biggest hale, we had a hale pe'a and a hale halavai. So that was like, that was mina. So what you see over here is the banana sheaths covering the top, the banana sheaths. I wasn't experimenting. Russ Apple experimented with that in his, he mentioned in his dissertation on the Big Island when they were restoring the hale, just like this one, at Honaunau. In fact, I went to Honaunau and I copied his sliding door. But I believe my hale came out nicer. Because he was doing his experimentation. When I was asked to go do hales the first time somebody asked me, I said, I don't know how to build a hale. So they took me down to Waimea Falls Park. And Uncle Rudy Mitchell was there. Did I mention this already? No. Uncle Rudy goes, oh boy, he was 55 years old after he was retired. Oh boy, you like building hale? I goes, yeah. So he starts drawing this detail here. And I go, hey, I know how to do that. I learned that in 6th grade. I don't know if you guys know who Helen Gay Pratt was. She was a BishopMuseum, a trustee or something. She wrote a book, Hawaiian, some kind of Hawaiian life book. And our Hawaiian studies teacher, not Hawaiian studies, but our Hawaiian teacher one day said, I want all of you to go out and pick something Hawaiian like lama lama torch, building pohakus, building candles, all that. And we had to do a show and tell. So I picked this. And I came back and I drew it out and it goes, this is a hale, da da da. And I totally forgot about it until Uncle Rudy Mitchell down at Waimea Falls Park started drawing that. And I goes, I know how to do that. He goes, oh yeah, now you gotta go try it, go boy. 55-year-old. And I said, after he came and visited the hale I built for Helemana School up in Waihewa, it was really hard because the Senate kept breaking, and I had to cut everything by hand and saw. And he came up there and he goes, oh, boy, you get him. Oh, thank you. So he said, now if you want to become a master builder, you got to build 120 by 40. I goes, no way. No way. It's too much work just gathering all the small sticks for that hale. So that was years ago. Oh, you got that slide. Good. I didn't know you were. That's the story I was supposed to talk about. This is a model of a hale that one of my students built from Hana Culture Center, right? She's passed on. So you guys better start watching out because I lost 3 of my students already, so it might be something in there. You guys better listen to Kumu. Anyway, I believe this is the gentleman down at Waimea Falls Park, Rudy Mitchell. He's gone. I didn't have a chance to thank him. Next slide. Okay, some of the material resources for building a hale. Of course, you need Waku, you need cordage, and in here I have a full box of Senate cord. Would somebody come open this, please? I have a full box of Senate cord in here that was gifted to me, or given to me, after we did the Disney Aulani. We went in and did all the fixtures in the Disney Aulani. We ordered 15 miles of Senate cord, and after we finished, we only used 13 miles. So they said, "Oh, we can't use this. Take them." I goes, "Whoa," and that's like $65 a bolt. And we're going to use some of this. And I was up here looking at this alu up here, and Kalama, who worked with me, Kalama and Ano, who worked with me at the Disney, they're really good because we had to invent lashings for the structures they put up because, they had to put this up and we had to make it look like it was for real. And like sometimes we'd use 100 feet or more just on one lashing. So somebody down in Fiji is driving a brand new Toyota truck. But we're gonna use some of this on this hale to demonstrate the comparison on using this versus Chinese paracord. This is, yeah, you want to pass this around? Look at it. Okay. We're going to do a demonstration on lashings, if you don't mind. Pass that around. And I can keep talking and while they come up here and build a Hale Care, okay? Some of these, the lashings that we use are international. Some of the lashing, okay, three. I'm going to show you how to just put them all up, tie the three together first. Are international. One year I had this architect from Japan visit me, and he goes, "Hey, that's a Japanese lashing." I goes, "No way, I invented that lashing." He goes, "No." So, okay, put that one first. This is going to be with me. So bring that one. And Hale Care is the most important thing when you build a hale. Just like in China, the person that builds the scaffolding system for these sky risers, he gets paid more than the person that's in charge of the building. I didn't know that. I was in China. So it's not really fancy. The scaffolding system is bamboo. They put one spike inside, and then they lash it. Here's what's fancy, is they lash it with 3 lengths of plastic something with a wire inside, much like your twist ties. It looks exactly like twist ties. And they just grab it and they push it behind. They twist it behind and they twist it. And that holds the whole scaffolding system. What it does is just holds the bamboo in while the spike bears all the load. And it's stressed evenly each floors. And I had to go buy those used bamboo with the holes in it to build our scaffolding system, because we couldn't get, wood. Wood is very precious and hard to get in China. Okay, what he's doing right now is he's showing what's called the Ujoint. It's universal. It's also shaped like a U, like a universal joint. This lashing here is used by almost everybody who builds thatch houses. In fact, we use this on our Hale Care system because it is stronger, because of the way it's wrapped, the way it's wrapped. It is stronger. It will not hinge because you have 2 separations. Versus, if we tomorrow or the next day we're gonna show what's called the Hawaiian aho pu'uone, which is more decorative than strong. It's just a variation of this lash, but you bring all of these in one area like that, so it'll have the tendency to hinge. So when you step on it, you might, think you're falling already. So it's really scary. You have to do it correctly. All of us, all hale builders, had that experience of falling already when somebody didn't do it right, and you climb up there. So after a while, you just take it for granted everybody does their job correctly. But you really need to look at them, and we're going to test them with one big brother after we finish. So I was tasked by Maui County to come up with standards for the modern building of hales. I had already built about 25 hales illegally. I like the word illegally. I go, I'm Hawaiian. So I was building it illegally, and Kalani English, I think, found out that I was doing it. So he put in a resolution to have it to legalize, add this as an addendum to the building code to legalize hale building. So it took like a year to get it in through the red tape, and then it took us a year to come up with the code. So the second year, they go, "Man, it's hard to push this thing through." I goes, "Why?" "We don't know how to attach all the hurricane clips and screws and all that." It goes, "What?" They goes, yeah, we got to put hurricane clips. This thing is not safe. Are you kidding? These are engineers on the panel. I'm not even an engineer. So I look at the top FAIA architect, and I says, Hans, have you ever been in a Hale? Have any of you ever been in a Hale? They goes, no. Then you should come with me to Hana. And Hans Ricky came back, and he went to Hana with me, and he brought his tape measure, and he started measuring this and measuring that. I goes, what are you measuring for? He goes, I mean, we got to go back to the drawing board. I goes, why? He goes, now we got to listen to you. I go, oh, okay. So first thing I want you guys to do is take out all the hurricane clips. And they're actually going to put the hurricane clips from the rafter down to the front of the ule here, or the front of the male tenant. And it was going to be held in with screws. 3 screws on the top. You go over there, you go, bang, the screws come out. Now I tell them, you try to go bang my cord, see what happens to your shoe. So actually, our lashings, when we finish our Hale, it's about like Hurricane 7. The leaves may fall off. It's going to be like Hurricane 7. What do you call rating? Okay. What else we got? Okay. That's what the county charged me with. So I was, I beg your pardon? Maui County. No, but now it's statewide right now. I mean, each county adopted the rules individually, and it took a while for each county to, they were waiting for the other county, waiting for the other county. I think the first county outside of Maui County was Oahu. And then it went to Kauai. And then it went to the Big Island. And everybody's kind of leery about it, but they're using our standards, so I don't know why they're leery. It took us 2 years to do it, and engineers had to okay everything. So we tested everything, and one thing, and I didn't believe in it, and I fought it. And now I believe we should all put fire suppression systems in our Hales, because there are kooks out there, and I lost 3 Hales from arsonists. 2 in, yes.
So in order to put a Hale up now, we have to get permit?
No, you don't. I'm gonna mention some of the exceptions. Okay, so if you build a Hale within 100 feet of a conventional building, this kind, a regular normal kind, or a toilet house or whatever, you know, a building of not Hawaiian architecture, you have to put a fire sprinkler system in it, because the county is not worried about your Hale burning. They don't want the things to fly up and burn the other house. So we don't care if your Hale burn, just so you don't burn the other houses. And it's kind of a valid statement, because you can have that when you burn, all the embers can fly up in the air and travel about 100 feet and land on a house. So I firmly believe right now, after 4 fires, 2 in Makaha, the same Hale, 1 year apart, 1 in Hana, my Hale Mua, 5 kids were throwing fireworks up in the air and landed on it, and 1 from the guy that blows the poo with the torch, to light the torch. He blows the poo, switches his hand, and burns the Hale. That's at the Four Seasons Hotel. Four Seasons Hotel, Maui. So, like, I finished the Hale today, and I tell the engineers, we really should be putting fire sprinkler systems in these 3 luau Hales that I built. And they go, nah, there's a swimming pool right here. So I said, okay. So 1 day goes by. The next day, I'm in Lahaina at a birthday party. I get a call. Hey, this is Gavagon. I goes, what, your Hale burn? He goes, how do you know? I goes, people only call me when the Hale burn. And Gigi, I don't know if you guys know Gigi out there at the farm. Yeah, So I said, TJ, you guys really need to put a fire sprinkler system. So he didn't, and the holly burned, and he called me up. Palani, my holly burned down. So out there goes, no problem. The good thing about holly fires, the holly will not totally burn down. The good thing about it is that the thatch will burn, then it'll come down to all these lashings, burn the lashings, and everything will drop down to the ground and burn on the ground. When we got there, the oars were still intact, and we could just put new ahupuelos on and thatch it. So a year later, I goes, you really need to put the sprinkler system in. Yeah, we're going to get them. So about a year later, I get another call. I goes, what, did your holly burn down again? Yeah, how you know? I goes, you only call me when your holly burns. So this time, it only burnt half the holly because we put a wooden cap on top of the holly, so the fire had a hard time burning through the wooden cap before it went to the other side of the holly. So that saved that half of the holly. I think now he has a fire system in there. At least a passive one or manual type. You know, you just run your pipes, put the sprinkler heads, and at least to keep it wet before the fire engine gets there. I have 100-and-something foot holly by 30, and when the state came down to tell me, I had to put a fire sprinkler system up. So now I have one, Jan. But it's smart to put a fire sprinkler system on it because it's a big investment in time and money. It's a lot of work. Although I thatched my holly in, I think it was like 2 days, a day and a half. I had like 40 people. We had a massive laulima of people working on my large holly, but everybody was tuned. The magic word is laulima. So, okay. Structural layout. Basically, if you guys can see that, I just did this drawing for my students a little while ago, and to build a scaffolding system. Say if we're going to work in this holly right here, we have to build you got the PowerPoint thing? No, go down. We had to build what looks like the inside roofing. That's the Hale Care system. We're going to build one out here on Saturday. In fact, we're going to start it tomorrow. But that system right there is an ergonomic scaffolding ladder system, which permits you to work in this like this. So one of the rungs you sit on one of the rungs, you put your feet on one of the rung, and the other one you lean back, which should catch you around the shoulder blades, and you can concentrate on doing all your lashings or your thatching, and then you can scoot along as you finish. And it should be where a child is not able to fall through, because the kids like to come up and play jungle gym on the holly, so we've got to make it safe enough for them. So that's the Hale Care. These are some of the pai's. Where is this? This, I believe, is in Mohala Farms down in Wailua. We finished this about 3 or 4 years ago. And one of the types of pai that we do now, we do not put a whole pai anymore because that would be for a sleeping holly. And we build mostly holly halavais or utilitarian type buildings. So we just put a pop wahaku and we embed the post in it to hold the frame up. So this is one of the hollies that we built down in, I think Colicchios was here. This guy right here. Oh, this T-shirt right here is the holly that we built on this is a schematic of the guy says, I got to remember how to build a holly and all that. So I goes, how are you going to remember that? You're going to put it on a T-shirt. How can you see it from the back? So you got to give me one so you can follow. That's the one we did on Nihao. Kaholavi. Okay, basically, the county says if you're gonna build it, you got to build it in this configuration right here. So it's rock, not cement in the rock just to hold the rock in place, but not cementing the post at all because the post is caustic and it'll eat up the cement is caustic, it'll eat up the wood. So what you do, you got to know how to stack the rocks around the post and lock the rocks to the post and put the facade or the front part of the wall. And it takes a little practice. Next. This is the beginning of my huge hale over there in Hana. It's probably the biggest one in the world. If you say Hawaiian hale, it is the biggest one in the world. Probably somewhere else in Africa they have bigger thatched hales. But this is the only of Hawaiian design in the world right now. It's about 100 feet by 30. And we follow the code to the max because I made the code, so I got to follow the code, right? So we use rocks, we embed them. These, you got to plant posts a minimum of 3 feet into the ground. Mine is 4 feet in the ground, and it's a huge hale. So next, the Hale Care. Just imagine if you walk in this building, you're gonna wonder how did they get up there to go to work, and that's why the Hale Care is the most important thing. Like I said, in China, the person that builds the scaffolding, he makes more money than the guy that builds it. So his job is safety. So the Hale Care, I cannot stress more importance on the Hale Care than anything else. And if you walked into the hale, most people say, "Why do you have a double roof on?" Actually, it's the system inside because we lash it on and it looks good. It looks like it belongs there. This is why do you have a double roof? So no, it's just an Hale Care. And usually, the engineers, the carpenters, the guys that build, they're the ones that ask that stupid question. Because the doctors, nurses, and everybody else, they go, "Oh, that's a building ladder, huh?" So, the mindset. There's a mindset in there that goes, "Well, I don't know why they do this." So we can tell who's coming around and asking the questions. The engineers always ask, "Where you put the roof?" Okay, in progress. Movie? We got a movie. This is the one we just recently put up in Molokai at a fish pond. And it was kind of like a barn raising. We built jigs on the ground, raised them up. Almost bomb. And it's going to be about yours too. Go to the post. This bugger got a cool. You come away, you're going to stop it from coming over. That's Molokaian talk, the language.
Come this way. Come this way. Come this way. Okay, cool. You're stopping it from coming over there. Okay, so fucker, cool, bono. Oh, don't, yeah. Okay, you hold it. Oh. Okay, hold it right there. Two eyes, stabilize, block. Okay, you guys try to shove the bug in the same. Yeah. Not that one, not that side.
Oh, not that side.
This side, shove
This side.
Right down. Okay, hold it. Right down.
Somebody remove that rock there. Oh. Not me.
Plumbing. I didn't have my golf club.
Oh, it's the first time I've been on this Hale Care. Oh, it's scary.
When the Hale Care is first finished, and the first guy goes up there, you got to look at. I wonder if this thing's gonna hold me up. I always say I'm scared. It's scary because I didn't build it. Okay, where's this? Oh, this is the big hale. We were. Okay. Bring the. Can you bring the? Yeah, right here. That's my friend, Mr. Yanmar, the yellow thing over there. When I don't have anybody around, I just call him, and he comes over, helps me dig the holes and everything. Hey, when you're 71 years old, you got to use everything you can get, right? Yeah. Lohilau? Okay. What they're installing right there, oh, shucks. We're going to put it over here. Put it right here. They're installing what's called the lohilau. Lohilau is the wall plate that connects all the posts together, keeps the posts in line, and it just basically keeps. And this is the lohilau from an end view, looking down. And then on top of the lohilau goes the rafters. These are the rafters right here, and it's got to be carved in a certain way so it is received by the post, which is the male part of the post of the structure. It's called the ule. It's a main tenet. Hey, I didn't say nothing bad. So it's called the ule, and the male part. You know, you have male, female. You know, in everything in the building. So the female part is called a kohe. And the funny part about it is this is the ule, and the kohe comes down over it like this. A cruise. And then it straddles the ule like this, and it locks it. It basically keeps it in place until you lash to it. So tomorrow you'll see all the little, not tomorrow, but Saturday you'll see all the little details. Next. Yo. We do have notching. We have them on the posts and at the joints. But these, there's no joints here. We're just lashing stuff together. We do have. A level? Oh, good question. What do you use for a level? If we're building close to another building, we usually use the eaves of the house or the top of the house as a leveling, device. Actually, what we really use is the horizon. The horizon, yeah. And if there's, a lot of times we build, there's no horizon around, or if it's like in Molokai and Hei, your horizon is not necessarily a true horizon, because if your property goes like this and you're facing the water, so your horizon is not a true horizon. You got to be looking straight out to the horizon. So you have a horizon that drops down like this, and your house. So it's a kind of a, you got an eyeball. And they're going to look, hey, how come I'm going to crooked? Because the horizon is, yeah, but the horizon's not straight. It drops down like this, I mean, it's not necessarily straight out, especially when you're looking between islands. You cannot use the horizon close to the island. So it's just things you learn, I guess. The center post, the height of the center post is determined by the width of the holly. Maui County has determined that 45-degree pitch is the minimum pitch for hollies nowadays. So if you went, back in the old days, you went into a holly that had a really high pitch, usually that's the Ali'i's holly, because his is going to be the highest, and his holly is going to have a dome on it. A dome. It's going to be like that. It's going to be curved like the mahi'ai or the warrior's helmet. That's how holly was determined. That's how you find a Ali'i's holly if you walked in a village you didn't know, especially if you were Captain Cook. Oh, talking about Captain Cook, I recently did a village for Captain Cook. I built 3 houses. Yeah.
As you can see, all ages do this. This is the youngest right here. As you can see, he's doing it all by himself. We just watching him.
Anyway, thank you, Arnold. We where's this? Huh? All the hollies starting to look the same. They really do. I mean, they all. This is a 20 by 30 in Kauai, right? Okay. 20 by 30, I don't know, I can't tell. Looking at that, background. Anyway, I built this village for Captain Cook movie. It just says Captain Cook. The movie hasn't come out yet, but it was a German scientist version of how Captain Cook was the person he really was. So this person tried to sell Captain Cook down the river when he was in England, and nobody would listen to him. So Captain Cook became a hero. Scary. But we had a competition after we restored the heiau, and the competition was to build an ahu, or stone thing, build this, put it on top of the ahu, and everybody that built it, 5 people, had to stand on this without the ahu. Remember that, Bruce? Could collapse. No, not me. I'm scared. You guys. 5 guys. If it collapses, it's because the floor is smooth and you got to push out. Ooh, scary, yeah? Okay, you guys can take it out. We're really going to use it tomorrow. Okay. Thank you, guys. Okay. Mainframe, holo. Unless you guys really, really want to know how to build a hale, we've got names like O'a, which are the rafters. The Ilio are they're called spandrels, which is a clamp. Spandrel. I know mostly Hawaiian words for the English. In fact, some of the members of the house or the hale frame has no names. So when I was doing the thing for the Maui County, I had to make up names, Hawaiian names. So some guys used to tell me, "How come you sure that's right?" I goes, "I don't know. But if that thing's standing upright, I'm going to call it kupono, right? If I do the lacing part and it's not written anywhere, who's going to contest me?" So I gave a lot of names, Hawaiian names, functional names, and that's the only way to do it and be safe. So one of the lacings that we're going to demonstrate on Saturday is called the holo pa'a. And the holo pa'a is a continuous lacing which ties all the little purlins together. And it has the smallest piece of wood up there with the longest name, just like humuhu nukunuku apua, right? But it's called the aho pio kuahui. I call it APEC. The aho pio kuahui, name of it is like aho pio, the smallest of the sticks, kua, the back part, hui, which keeps everything in order. So it's like putting plywood. When you first build your frame like this, you got all these little purlins and I don't know what you call them in English, but all these little things up here, and you put the plywood up there. That's when you do the holo pa'a and you tie all those sticks together. It's like putting the plywood on. It really cinches the hale real tight. And if you're working on the hale, and in the beginning the hale will have little movement. After that, every time you lash something, it doesn't move, but it'll vibrate. So when your hale vibrates, it's tight. So if you shake it like that, the hale goes. Vibration is good. Okay, what do we got? Mainframe in progress. You mark them, this is cut off. Then you look at your ule over here. And you come over here and by rule of thumb, measure the ule. This is that so you go like waihe'e. We're building if it's like one line over, you can tell how many over, how many under, whatever. So just use your thumb. Even how fat it is, you can go up there and go like this right in the middle, and it's 1/8 big on each side of your thumb. So that's the rule of thumb. Okay, crank them. Makes sense. Oh, in case you're wondering why I don't use a ko'i, I did build a hale entirely out with a ko'i, but when people ask me why I don't do it anymore, I go, I want to finish the hale this year. That's my answer. This is a hale that was in the symposium in Maui, the competition. Oh no, was it?
My God.
We got some actors there.
Yeah, and after that first one, come in front of
Come on. Okay, come this way. Right this way. Chuck with the brown shirt comes here every year to work on hales. He's from South Carolina.
Okay, hold it.
Doesn't know one word of Hawaii. Says Wakiola instead of Wakiola.
Dot. Hold the dot, guys. So load up about like.
What's that, guys?
I wish we had music like that when we were working because it
Load
makes
them
it
up
work
on the
faster.
inside of the
Or
Hale
when
Care.
Kalama chants, when we were restoring the heiau, Kalama used to chant so fast and so loud when we were working, she would sweat.
One behind us.
They have to tell our kahunas, hey, slow down, man. That goes for you too, Cruz. Okay, Paul. The aho puel. The main purlins are the ones that go across like this. These are reversed purlins. I don't think they're even purlins. I think they're just blocks, the ones that go this way. But in hale building, the main purlins are called aho puel. And the name and the lashing matches. Okay. The thatch frame, I just told you about the holopa'a, the aho pio kuahui, the longest name. Aho is cordage. Holopa'a is the one that I told you I invented that name. And we added another detail we added to hales because we have all our hales mostly open. We added a thing, what I think in modern construction they call it a spillway or something. I forget what it is. So we just call it hanini, meaning to spill in Hawaiian. So that's what the hanini is. Lima pa'a is another one that I added to tie at the end of a purlin so it doesn't slip. So lima, hand, or 5 fingers. Pa'a is to hold in place. So in case some of you Hawaiian studies students never saw that word, I made it up. It makes sense though, eh? Types of thatch materials. Back in the old days, naturally, they used a lot of pili. We did one with tea leaf. Hala's good. What's that? They also used, back in the old days, well, that's what it says in the book, that they used ilile'au, or barks of trees. Makes sense because, the barks of trees are like skin, yeah, and skin's supposed to protect. And I've only seen pictures that Dr. Apple had in this thing. I've never tried to use ilile'au. Why use it when you got lolu? By the way, if you don't have lolu plants in your yard, you should plant them. That's the cover of the future. Hulu, other guys. Okay, change. Okay, after you put all the thatch, you thatch from the bottom, and you always thatch into the wind. Experience as a teacher. I was thatching one day, and I was thatching away from the wind. And if you've ever been to, if you're a woman and you've been to Chicago, you try to turn your back on the wind. Dress goes up, right? Same thing happened. I goes, wow. The thing just kept blowing out. I said, what's the matter with this leaf? You thatch into the wind when you lay. You thatch into the wind. It's just like when you're a surfer, you go into the wave. Same thing. You don't go away; it's going to smash you, or it takes you. So you thatch into the wind, and you got to know where the prevailing wind is. And if you don't know where the prevailing wind is, then you thatch left to right. You use a herringbone pattern inside. So you thatch right to left, left to right, right. Then you're safe from either wind, whether it's coming left to right or straight on. It definitely is a different thatch Peely grass you can just thatch over and over, and it's going to get all blown away anyway. So, but when you thatch with lolu, you must thatch properly. Okay, up on the top to hold it. This is mahali back in the early days. I used to have a papali on it that was made out of plywood. I got criticized for it, so I switched and did the old way. So we have this storm batten up, and I couldn't find it, if you students know the right word, to hold the last row of thatching and the capping on there. It's a piece of wood about this big. I call it the kokua. Kokua to help up there. So if anybody knows the right word for that, let me know, okay? So, what else? Okay, you notice there were some dry leaves and some green leaves. We only put the o'o or EO or matured green leaves on the papali. I used to put dry ones, but they'd crack. So you need something that's supple and that will fold to put on the papali. And you cannot use young leaves. You must use the green leaves that are either in horizontal position on the tree or drooping already. When the sugar content is starting to, or whatever you call it, is starting to, when the tree's taking all the sugars away and the leaf matures, that's the best leaves to use because it'll last long. If you put like a green tea leaf, you use green tea leaves on a holly, 2 months, it's gone. It goes back to Mother Nature. But dry tea leaves will last years. Okay, just show you guys how we test guys or girls if they're smart enough to build hollies with us, or if they can chew gum and walk at the same time. Or if they cannot do that, then we give them the ultimate test. And the ultimate test is to do a shaka properly. And it's going to look complicated or simple. So all I'm doing is, when I was growing up, my tutor used to teach us how to, we saved all the strings and stuff. So she said, just make them like this. So in my early days building a holly, I used to ball them up. I used to wrap them around a stick. I used to put it in hi'as or net bobbins, and it was either cumbersome, or you lost it. So you're using ball string and you drop it, and the thing goes wow. So you wrap it around a stick, and then you do other things. So one day I was doing it, I goes, dang, and I just happened to do this. I goes, I got to coil it up and put it back on the cord. I goes, yeah. And then I did this, and this was still attached. So this was by accident. So I go, hey, why should I put it on a stick when I've already got something right here? So necessity is the mother of invention right here. You can release this and make your lashings using this, and release as much as you need. And then if it gets too slack, you just pull it like that. So. And I used to do it, and I go, oh, that's the way to do it. So I started teaching my other students, and they used to do this. And you will too if you try it. Okay, watch what I do now. Slow down. Okay, out of the 5 half hitches I put in here, 2 of them have knots in them. There's 2 knots in them. See it right there? No big thing, right? But when you're up there, you're ready to do your last oomph to tighten it up, as you saw the guys do. None of them had a knot in there, right? There was no knots because they did it properly. But if you're working, you end up with a knot, you want to kill the person that put it in. So you better not be you. So that's one of the tests. We make sure that anybody that comes on site that wants to help volunteers, we make sure that they do the shakas properly. Otherwise, sometimes we need a sacrifice for the next day to bury under the post. So this is what we call shakas, and this is a way to pre-measure the cord. If we have measurements like, give me a number 3, a 2.5, a 2. These are all pre-measured. So you don't have to always pull them off the roll. So we make like 100 of these, put them in a bag, and take it up. And that's why you see them working real fast. Okay, what do we got? Okikapiko okahale is cutting the umbilical cord of the hale. A little thatch, a tuft of thatch over the puka to give birth to the hale. So that is the when the hale is hanau, you cut off the piko. This photo right here was, some of the guys are here. This is my large hale now, and we built it over the smaller 20 by 40. That used to be our canoe hale, which our Hana racing canoe was built in. It's 20 by 40. We extended to 20 by 50 because the canoe was 50 feet, so we had to extend it. Me and one of my other students did it. Some of the guys are here. We actually leaned the olokea on part of the hale, part of the olokea, but on the other side of this hale, we had to match the width that we extended. This hale here, the big hale took, I think it was like 6,000 leaves to cover the whole thing, and I extended it. The initial hale was 70 feet, and I put the hips on, and it became 100 and something. I cannot stress olokea. You can see, the guy is the engineer that said he didn't trust our olokea. I wish he was here to see that, because there's 100 tons of people right on there. And so, do we have any more? Okay. In the past, it was necessary to build a hale because of shelter. Most of the people actually slept outdoors because the weather was really nice, and that was pre-mosquito days probably. But the most important thing about hale, besides rain, of course, was when the ali'i did their round the island walk, you had to disappear. If you were heard, seen, it was the next day's sacrifice. So if I was an ali'i, I would like that kind of strict couple. John Papa'i'i, in his book, he wrote that one time he was, the ali'is came through the village, and everybody got into the house, and he had a tickle in his throat. He kept coughing. So the whole family got to go if they found out who was coughing, right? What hale it came from. So the ancestors dug up a hole in the middle of the hale, stuck his head in and covered with kapa. So that's why he was alive to talk about it, according to Papa'i'i. Okay. Aole hana ka hale. If the hale is not lived in, it will die. And like I said, if you build a hale, you gotta use it. You have to use it, and I've seen too many hales just die, and it's a lot of work. It pains me to see a hale die. The last village of 3 hales that was built, the nonprofit that had it just let it go to waste, and that's where I lost my finger. That's why it pains me every time I drive by it. So I never used that machine again. What else we got? Okay, mahalo. Are there any questions? I like the long blonde ones. That's what we call the long blondes. Really long, nice, and long is better than short. But this one is called Pritchardia washingtonia, something like that, I think. Washingtonian Pritchardia. I don't know why it was brought to Hawaii, but it grows, it does well in very arid places like Kihei and Lahaina. And they grow really fast, and they have thorns on the stems. I don't know, thorns on the stems that will cut you up. And I like it best because nobody likes them. And we rent sky lifts, and we go up and we cut them with chainsaw, and we de-thorn them. It's easy to de-thorn once you know how to do it. It takes less than 10 seconds to de-thorn one, once you get used to it. And we have a video on how to do that. I have lolu. I forget the name, but I have several types of Hawaiian lolu. The Hawaiian lolu is okay for capping because they're really soft, but they don't tend to hold up in the weather as good as the Washingtonians. In Hana, we have a lot of Pritchardia chinensis, which is Chinese version that was brought over, and that's what I use most of. In fact, when I built the holly in China, I used Pritchardia chinensis, and everybody thought that was my last name. Good question. And we're starting to fix our hollies nowadays by over thatching. I've developed a system to, like, you put new shingles over old shingles. It's economical, and you actually thicken your thatching, which makes it last longer. So you actually extend the life of the first layer by covering it with the second layer. And in Hawaii Kai, I'm from Maui. I don't know Hawaii Kai. It's a gated community. I would say, I don't know what your rainfall is, inches of rain, but dry, pretty dry. Okay, you don't only have to worry about rain because the sun deteriorates as fast. You can put the wood out there and it turns gray and it's starting to carbonize already. So, yeah, it depends on, you need a little rain because the sun really beats up on that and thatching, and it'll turn white. So it depends on how thick you make it, how long it lasts. My holly, shucks, we should have used 12,000 leaves on it, but I didn't have the time or the material, so we only put about 6,000 leaves on it. And it's only about 4 years old, and I'm starting to gather thatching to over thatch.
It looked like you did most of the lashing from the inside, but some of the lashing on the ends you did outside?
Yes, from the Hale Care. If any of you have studied any of the books about holly, especially the museum holly, the lashings were made from the bottom up, probably because they used those as part of the ladder system from the outside. Okay, that's fine, but it's more comfortable sitting on that old Hale Care, safer to do it that way. So I kind of broke the cultural norm, and I instead of thatching from the bottom up and fighting gravity, I'm thatching from the top down and let gravity help me. So I don't know why they didn't do it back in the old days like that. And I don't know that it was the way they did it back in the old days from the bottom up. I'm only trusting that Russ Apple did his research enough, and Kamakaua backed him up. I don't know. So, what I'm doing is, I call it experimental archaeology. So I make it the easiest way. When I was in the Air Force, I was efficiency expert. So I try to do everything the easy way, and because I'm small, I got to use instead of the brawn. What was that, bugs? How much you want?
What's the
Oh, it depends on how much centipedes and roaches you want. Hey, it's nature. So, if you keep it high and dry, you won't have a bug problem too much. But once the water starts coming into the hale and you don't pay attention to it, then it starts going down the rafters and all that, and then you start producing mold and stuff, then you're going to have food, right? Mold for the insects. So if you keep it high and dry, it'll last longer. Go come and eat my house. Somebody said that.
Big problem.
Some people say, why don't you paint it with termite medicine? I goes, hey, and the standards is written that you do not use any kind of bug repellent or something. But we do soak it in salt water for two reasons. One, to keep the bark soft before you pound it out, and another as a passive termite treatment. The secret is, if you saw that post embedded in the rock, we also pour sand down the sides as a termite barrier. It's a recommended thing to do, even in modern construction.
How long do we soak the?
Up to 45 days. Well, it depends on the thickness of the wood, too. Okay, there's this thing called ike somi. I should have told you this. This is not a Japanese word. In fact, if you take the test that I devised, you got to know what this is. Yeah. Okay. Ike. Who can write here? Professor. That's what professors are for, right? Yeah. Ike somi, and I'll explain that. One day, my student says, "Hey, man, I can't remember all these scientific terms for all the wood that we use." So I go, "That's easy." So I looked at all the names, and it says Ikesomi, Ikesomi. If you remember all that, you will remember. So the I stands for ICE. ICE. So it's just a way to remember, just an acronym to remember how to. It's what was that? Ironwood. Yeah, I stands for ironwood, and then the CE in there stands for Casuarina ecrucidifolia. So if you can remember ice, you can remember that ironwood is Casuarina ecrucidifolia. Then we have Kiawe, and if you can remember KPP, which is Prosopis pallida. Prosopis pallida is Kiawe. So ironwood, Kiawe, eucalyptus, strawberry guava, ohia, and what we're using is mangrove. Mangrove. It's a really nice tough wood. And then the last one, which we use only for the purlins or the small thatch purlins, is called inkberry. It's the name of it, and it's inkberry. Ardisia elliptica, for the elliptical shaped leaves, right? Who said ardisia? Hey, your partner said. So we use, if you remember Iae, which is I equals Ia, Iae. So these are some of the, I teach my students so they can remember how to, when they go to take the big test. Oh, by the way, if you want to be a hale builder and you want to be certified, sorry, but you guys got to be certified by me until I pass on. Somebody else is going to certify you. So, and I don't see you 65-year-olds going to become hale builders. Yes.
Hawaiians lash many things. They lash hale, they lash canoes, they lash fishhooks, and other things. The tortoise to hold ipu and all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Does the language of lashing transfer to the different disciplines, or is there specific lashing terms for hale, specific lashing terms for canoes, or do you have some cross terms?
There's specific lashes for the hales and for the canoes and all that. And I'm not an expert on canoes, although I have a canoe and I used to be involved with the Festival of Canoes for 10 years. But I just let them, the canoe builders, build the canoes, and I build my hales. You build a car, I build a garage. And I actually had the master canoe carvers come up to me and says, "Man, you got a hard job." I goes, "Are you kidding? It's easy." He goes, "No, you got to work with all these different sticks. You got to do all this. We only have one log. We cut, and walk around it all day." True. It's easier to build a canoe. Trust me. You just got to know how to shape it. Yes. Yes. I know what trees you're talking about, and you know they're pretty good, but they'll deteriorate from the inside. You're talking about the palms, right? There, real strong, straight palms. Yes, you can. I built the holly in Hainan on 12 trees, 12 eucalyptus trees, and we attached the floor plate to the tree, and we built the holly on top of the wall plate. So I did build a holly on trees. You can do it. Just Google Hawaiian holly, China. Also, we were just involved. My guys were just involved in this treehouse movie that's on the TV, TLC or something, and it's going to be airing in March. So you can see some of our guys in there. And we recently were asked to do another treehouse thing. I don't know, a treehouse. Okay, any other questions?
And the real old drawings, first drawings, in point, it looked like the thatch went right down, didn't have the...
Yes.
Is that the old style? Or is
Yes.
that special?
Yeah, yep. You can build a holly. It's fully enclosed. However, you cannot put lights according to the code. No lights and no water. So why build a holly like that? I slept in my big holly 5 days last week on a bunk. I built a big fire inside of it. Built a fire in my holly. The roof is the roof is about as high as this, and they built. In fact, if you go into the museum, there's a little fireplace in there, right? Kapawai. Not anybody can build fires in my holly. And you got to know how to build a fire.
Can you briefly explain to everybody what the workshop will involve?
Sure. Okay, we've pre-planted the posts, as you see out there, in a jig so that we can move it around. They didn't want us to dig holes here or put rocks in the ground and grass. That's okay. That's okay. It forces us to be innovative. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in a pre-made holo care, or the scaffolding system, and we're going to put it in there, and then we're going to build it in order of erection. You cannot build a holly backwards. You got to build it according to the order of erection. So when the guys were up here doing this, they were telling you what they're going to do, and that's the order of erection. Dig the holes, plant the 4 posts, lash everything, and put the thatching on. So what they did was tell you what they're going to do in a ha'a and tell you who they were. And that's their introduction. We're going to lash, we're going to put up we're going to pretty much put up the whole mainframe, at least. And if time permits, we may finish the whole holly if people stay around to help out. But it's going to the workshop's going to consist of showing you guys how they take the skin off. So there's going to be real debarking, so you guys know what to expect when you want to build a holly, and know the frustrations, the cuts and the bruises, and you got to wear safety gear. And you guys we're going to let you have hands-on how to put the strings onto the thatching material, and we're going to let you hands-on building a ladder Here's part of the rung. The upright for the ladder, and we're gonna and the olokea, and we're gonna have just basic lashing for you guys that want to build a trestle or tie your wife up or tie your husband up and stuff like that. But no, we don't want to see in the newspaper they get, you guys tie your wives up. Time permits, we can. But we only have to, no. Our holly got to be out of here by 3 o'clock, so we're going to go like this. Time to take it apart. So, now, anybody want to buy that holly? Here's my, that holly, I tell you what, if we had to go out and build a holly, turnkey and sell it as it is, it would run about $12,000 to $15,000. Depends on who you are and how much money you got. It's very labor intensive. Excuse me, sir. Just to how much did you use mortar? The county uses mortar. The county. Actually, we've built a lot of hollies without mortar, where the jurisdiction is not, where the county jurisdiction does not apply. Oh, by the way, you need to get a permit from the housing office, or whatever you call it, if you're going to build on county jurisdiction lands. That's you guys, eh? You guys are not, but you're private owner, right? That's county jurisdiction because you have a TMK. If you are state, federal, or Hawaiian homelands, you don't have to have a permit. State, federal, or Hawaiian homelands, you do not need a permit. However, wherever your boss is or whatever, that agency may require that you go draw a permit. So you might as well get a permit anyway.
Blueprints and everything.
We've worked on it for a whole year, drawing up all the blueprints. We've got all the specs on there. If you want to build a holly that's 20 by 30, it'll tell you exactly all the specs, what to do and all that. Yeah. But then you need someone who is certified to build a holly for you and with you. And we're going to be doing a certification process at WCC one of these days.
How many hours does it take?
To build a holly. To certify? Are you a certified builder? How many hours have you worked on a holly? How many hollies have you built? Okay. You have to take a test. And the test is very specific. It's partially in Hawaiian, partially in English. And you got to make an 85 percentile. And first of all, you got to attend classes. You cannot just say, "Oh, I know how to do that." Take a few pictures and say, because you do have to build a holly by yourself, and I've got to inspect it. Make sense? I overthatched a holly 3 times, but it was a lomi holly. They see a little light, they think it's going to leak. Well, if they pay, I go. Go ahead.
When you read that, you just shove the thing in and shoot it.
There's a different technique. I had to develop that. I had to invent that technique. Yeah. We used tools, bamboo tools. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it takes a person inside and a person outside. Yeah. The outside person is almost as important as the inside person. He's got to know where to place the leaves, how to stick it in without killing the guy inside. And the guy inside better be fast enough because the guy says, "I'm holding, I'm waiting." The guy goes, "Oh, I'm tying." So you got to have really good teams when you overthatch. So, and everybody's got to be in harmony. Any other questions?
You mentioned at the beginning that holly pili grass is scarce. Are there any restoration projects going on, or where can you find natural pili around the island?
Molokai Ifuan is raising pili grass, but they're raising it to bale and sent to Kaho'olawe as a what's called an erosion prevention thing. Who are you, sir, ma'am? See, you're shaking your head. Kaho'olawe. You used to work here. Yeah, I'm 71 years old. First class. Oh, yeah, that's my Lua classmate. How are you? Okay. Okay, I did a lot of weird stuff. I mean, when I came back to Hawaii, I was going to do nothing but Hawaiian things. And that's what I've done. So, yeah. I have a tattoo, but I don't want to reveal it. Okay. Well.
Mahalo for listening. If you have any questions or comments on this or other online audio programs, please visit us online at www.bishopmuseum.org. If you like us on Facebook, you'll be alerted when new programs are available. A hui hou from the Bishop Museum.